In just 20 days from today, the United States is going to have an election. That will be November 5th. On November 5th, potentially, we will know who the next president of the United States is. Currently, it will either be between former President Donald Trump and our current Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, U.S. officials are highly concerned, though, especially the Biden administration, simply because of what we now know. The U.S. officials expect Israel's counterattack on Iran will come before the U.S. election. That right there could sway voters one way or another. Today I'm going to break down what's going on, how the U.S. has just confirmed that yes, this attack will happen in the next 20 days. Before the U.S. election, Israel is going to attack Iran. Then Iran will counterattack against Israel. We're going to see what happens, but I'm going to break it all down in today's video. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So here's what's happening at this time. Right now, the American people are looking at President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris to determine what they are going to do when it comes to all the different issues around the world. We have a war between Russia and Ukraine. The United States is definitely involved in that. We have a war between Israel and Gaza, or technically Hamas. Well, the United States is in that too. We also know Israel is going up against Hezbollah. The United States is involved there because Israel is our closest ally in the Middle East. And now we know Israel is going to retaliate against Iran. Then Iran has already stated they will retaliate against Israel. Now, what they are saying though, this is what is very interesting. They say right now that there will be a counterattack before the U.S. election day. That is November 5th. That's in 20 days from today. 3 weeks from yesterday is when we're going to have this election. But here's another very important date. The U.S. is giving Israel 30 days to boost Gaza aid or risk cut to military support. So think about this for a second. Right now, Israel knows they have the support of the United States. Great. So they can go and do a retaliation against Iran. Let's say they do that on November 4th. Well, they technically have 30 days from Sunday, which was the 13th of October, which, this month there's 31 days. So they have until, November 12th. At that point, military aid from the U.S. would be cut off. Now, here's why that's such a big deal. Let's say the attack happens on November 4th, one day before the election. This right there would send messages all over the U.S. People that are against Israel, okay, and yet the United States is backing Israel, but Israel goes and attacks Iran, still attacking Hamas and attacking Hezbollah all at the same time. This could actually hurt Democrats. And again, the day before the election. But the United States is continuing to back Israel until November 12th, which means they have 8 days. Again, keep in mind, if Israel attacks Iran, Iran will respond, which means Iran is going to respond, yet the U.S. is still going to be helping Israel. But look at this. President Biden says, I don't know if Netanyahu is trying to sway the U.S. election. I think, okay, I'm no expert here, but what he does in Israel and what he has done over the past year has swayed the U.S. President Biden was going to try to win his second term. Not anymore. He walked away from that. He withdrew his candidacy, which is the only reason why Vice President Kamala Harris is even there. But I want to read something to you. Okay? I want to read a little bit of this article right here because something that it says here is very important. Now, let's get down to it. It says the timeline and parameters of Israel's retaliation against Iran has been subject to intense debate inside Israel's government and are not directly related to the timing of the U.S. election, according to sources. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that, where Israel's trying to determine everything on their own timeline based off their own objectives, but at the same time, it's very interesting where it all kind of falls into place. Let's keep reading. It says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, described by senior U.S. administration officials as a political animal deeply attuned to American politics, appears highly sensitive to any potential political ramifications of Israel's actions in the U.S. Goes on to say, the growing conflict in the Middle East has emerged as a persistent issue in the American election. President Joe Biden and, by extension, Vice President Kamala Harris have faced pressure from progressives for their handling of the situation. Meanwhile, Republicans, including former President Donald Trump, have accused the administration of bungling the crisis, sending the world into chaos. Okay, now, here's what I really want to read to you. Okay, this right here. Strike could upend race. It says, for Biden and Harris, an outbreak of a wider regional conflict would pose an unwelcome development on an issue that has already caused the major political headaches. Netanyahu is acutely aware of how a potential counterstrike could reshape the presidential race, according to assessments from U.S. officials, adding a layer of complexity to the ongoing diplomacy between the two nations over the last several months. Okay, now, here's where things get interesting, okay? I want to read this to you because what is being said here is what we have feared for quite some time. Look at this. It says the Biden administration officials have been notably tight-lipped about both the timing and targets of Israel's forthcoming counterstrike after Iran launched some 200 ballistic missiles at the Jewish state earlier this month. Now, here's the important thing. Netanyahu informed Biden last week that Israel does not intend to go after Iran's nuclear or oil sites during this round of retaliation. Okay, that's the important thing. Biden had publicly encouraged Israel and Netanyahu to avoid those targets. So avoid any nuclear or oil site. Why is this such a big deal? Here's the reason why. As of right now, it has been reported that Israel is going to target Iran's military sites. That's what they're going to target. They're going to target that first. But as it says right here, they do not intend to go after Iran's nuclear or oil sites during this round of retaliation. Here's why. According to a statement, they say they won't go after Iran's nuclear or oil sites in this round of retaliation, and it is clear why. Israel can't and won't target a major site because they already know Iran's plans to retaliate. So after the next retaliation, then Israel will need another bigger target to go after. Hence, oil and nuclear sites. So what they are saying right now is Israel's already planning for Iran to attack them again. But once they do, the next option and the next way to intensify this battle, right, step it up, is to go after the next target. That would be oil sites and nuclear sites. Here's the next problem. Once that is done, okay, they go after oil and nuclear sites, Iran will retaliate. When they do, Israel's next response, okay, is going to send them into an all-out war. So right now, many are saying that this could lead to the next world war, because we are seeing the United States get fully invested, fully involved here. And if Israel does provide more aid to Gaza, that is going to draw the United States in even further, because we are going to continue to send military aid to Israel in a time when Israel is going to war with Iran. So, we're going to see what happens here. The one thing I can tell you is it is concerning, to say the least. But as we get more information, I promise I'll fill you in all the latest news and updates. That's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.